All right, let's talk about going from freelancer to passive income. Over the last 10 years since we've been running Interact, I've talked to hundreds of freelancers and entrepreneurs who have either made the switch or they're looking to make the switch or they're in the middle. And the dream state, right, is that our income is passive. And let's be real, it's not completely passive. You can never be in a situation where you're just making money and you don't do anything. I can maybe think of a handful of exceptions, but realistically, you're still going to be working. But I think what people really mean, if I can read between the lines, is being able to do work that you really enjoy and you have a lot more choice around what you're doing and what you're not doing. And you also do have the freedom to do things like travel or be in different locations or spend time with people that you care about, stuff like that. So that's the goal here. And I want to take you through the exact process that I have seen from, again, hundreds of people who have done this and what they're doing. There's four steps, four, four steps. And this is how you're going to go from a state where you're probably currently in, which is you have a full client load, it's taking up all your time and energy, and it's really hard to make that switch over, which I totally empathize because we had to do the same thing at Interact. We were freelancers doing website development before we started the company, and it was a painful, long transition for us to go from that into the SaaS product we are now, which is passive, meaning that we're not doing client work per se, but we are involved with customers. We're talking to customers every single day, which is why I'm saying that, right? It's not just that you're going to, all of a sudden not have to work anymore. And this is not that kind of video. So let's walk through these steps. I have two examples pulled up here. One is from Kay Putnam. She was actually on our Creator Stories podcast and shared a lot of this info with me and us. I'll link that in the notes below, and you can go check that out. The other is from Ashlyn Carter, longtime customer and friend of Interact, and she's also just done an amazing job of building up this four-step system that I have identified from looking at all of these examples. So let's jump in and start at the beginning. Number one, you need a much larger audience. And from what I have seen, it's almost entirely content driven. If you're looking to do an ad driven model, it's broken from the start because you're paying for views. And unless you're able to really highly monetize those views and clicks to your stuff, the ad model is not going to work. And so, what I have seen from almost every person who's made this successful transition is they have a content driven approach that gets them in front of a much larger audience. Now, right now, YouTube video in general is the leading growth category in terms of content marketing. So I'm going to highlight two examples from video. You don't have to do video. There are other mediums that you can do, but this is what I'm seeing right now in 2022 as the best medium for growth in terms of content marketing. So let's take a look at both of these examples and what they're doing on YouTube and just some highlights of how this is working. So the first one here, this is Kay Putnam's YouTube channel, 13.6K subscribers. That's really incredible for somebody in the business space. So you got a variety of content here organized into playlists. You'll see it's very frequent. 5 hours ago, 2 days ago, 6 days ago, 7 days ago, 9 days ago. That's also something that I'm seeing a lot of on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, wherever this video is coming up. It's a multi-time per week thing, 2, 3, 4, 5 even times a week. I've seen people posting video, and obviously that's going to sound intimidating. And again, I can totally empathize. I think there's not an easy answer there. From all the interviews that we've done over on that Creator Stories podcast, it's hard and it's different for every person. Not each person has the same method for creating content when they're also having to work with clients. For what I've seen, I think the easiest thing to do is answer client questions with your content. You can almost do it in line. You can even have your like video set up all day long, and just when you talk to a client about a particular problem, you can ask their permission to share their problem, or you can generalize it and then just record a quick 2, 3, 4 minute video, pop it up, and you're ready to go. I think there's a lot of intimidation that comes with creating content. Obviously, if you look back at some of Interact's early stuff, it's very embarrassing. And, that's Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn. His thing is like, if you're not embarrassed, you've waited too long. So generally, just don't wait too long. Don't go and look at these examples from Kay and Ashlyn and be like, I need to be at that level. They're experts. They're incredible at this stuff. And so it's certainly something to aspire to, but you don't need to start off with their level of expertise and quality. I like this one here, how to create a brand awareness campaign, because this is like a targeted keyword that's coming out here. And of course, we're going to see ads on YouTube, which is a slight side point, but I think the reason why YouTube does so well for creating content in a business setting is that there we go, pause it on there, screenshot there, that you're aligned with YouTube because YouTube wants people to be watching videos, whereas on some other platforms that are ad driven, the alignment is not there as much. So that's just a side note of why I think YouTube is doing really well right now. Let's go over to Ashlyn Wright's 30.7K subscribers. Again, really frequent uploading, 5, 11, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So just frequent uploading here. Again, I think just hitting some really good terms. This is all about copywriting. So, the audience is copywriters, whereas for Kay, she's a brand designer. So these are just two examples. I would say if you're looking to get started with content, minimum once a week, ideally twice, is the way that you want to go. YouTube's doing really well right now. Podcasts are still doing well, although there's a little steam that's kind of come out of that one. Blogs are always great. We still do a lot of blogs at Interact, and we've had a lot of success with it. So we're going to continue to invest in that channel. Those are the three main ones. And you think about it, it's just communication, like video, written, and audio, right? Like that's how we communicate as humans. Visual, I guess, would be another one. So if you're really into infographics or something like that, you could totally do that. So step one, you need a much larger audience that's content driven. Step two, you need a lead magnet. And this is where Interact comes in. So you go to Ashlyn Carter's site, ashlynwrights.com. I'll link that down below as well. This is the first part. How does your brand actually sound online? Start the quiz. Nah, I'm cool. So you click this, it will take you to quiz, which is built on Interact, and this is how you can convert that audience of followers into email subscribers. So that's the next step, right? And from everybody that I've talked to, getting people onto an email list is a massively different story than just having followers on a platform. There are people who have enormous numbers of followers on a platform but have not been able to monetize well because they don't have that email list. Because the email list, it's not some magical thing. It's really just like moving people a couple steps closer to buying from you, because they get to be more familiar with you. They get to know you over time. It's a slight decision that they have to make. And, you're eventually going to need them to make a decision to buy and give you money, which is a huge decision. But you can start with a micro decision by having them go through and get on your email list. I'm going to run through this quiz just to show you an example of what this looks like. I think it's like such a well done quiz. I just want to show it to you on video so you can see it. At the end of it, it has an email opt-in form. This is where you get people on your list. Average conversion rates on these is 40%. And here is the outcome that I got. And so this is relationship building. It's a lead magnet. Awesome stuff. Kay also has a similar setup where there's a take the quiz button on the home page, and you can go through what is your innate brand advantage. I won't go all the way through this one, but I'll link it below as well. also an excellent quiz. So this is how you're going to get people onto your list. You need a lead magnet. I obviously recommend quizzes. They do work really well. We use it on our own blog as well. So that's certainly been a big driver for us of our leads. Then the third step is you do need recurring revenue. So that's why I listed here courses, SaaS, and ads. For these two examples, there are courses, and let's see, I can go on to K's. So work with me, one-on-one intensive, creative courses, and there's actually a quiz course. So that's awesome. And that's one of the ways, right? Creating a course. And, there's a lot of videos on course design that you can go and watch. We'll probably put out some content on our channel as well. Generally, courses are taking content and packaging it in a way that has a story arc to it so that people can follow along and get to a goal through your course. The other one is SaaS, and this is becoming much more accessible now with the advent of no code and low code tools. So you can actually create simple SaaS applications and charge people on a recurring basis. That's how Interact works, is people pay for the ability to create these quizzes on a monthly basis. So that's the second one. And the third one is ads. If you're in an industry where you have just really high traffic, then you can monetize that using ads. And again, that's a more hands-off thing than doing one-on-one work. And then the fourth one, I think goes without saying, but you do need a lower price, right? If your price to work with you one-on-one is, let's just throw a number out there. I'm not going to judge this number. Let's say $250 an hour. And then you try to charge $250 a month for an access to a course, probably not going to translate one-to-one. There's no general rule here, but you do need a lower price than just what you would charge as an agency, right? So Interact, as an example, our subscriptions start at $39 a month, subject to change, $39 a month. And if you want to hire somebody to build a quiz for you and write everything, you're going to be paying much, much more, probably, I don't know, 50 to 100 times more than $40 a month for somebody to personally write your quiz, right? So that is the last aspect that you do need of this, is you need a lower price. So my encouragement to you, if you're in a place where you are freelancing, it's exhausting, because it is exhausting to have full-time work like that and have client load. I would say find ways to get into a rhythm of creating content twice a week. Go with the channel that makes sense to you. It's easier if you go with a channel that is growing. So right now, again, I was mentioning video or podcast seems to still be growing. It's a little easier to get the wheels going. But honestly, whatever you can actually do consistently twice a week, that's where you want to start. There's other methods for promoting that content that I'll do in another video. And then you need a lead magnet so that people who are engaging with your content can get onto an email list. Then you need a recurring revenue stream. So whether that's a course or a SaaS product or ads that are running on your content. And you need a lower price than what you're charging for freelancing. And these are really just the 4 steps. Again, I've seen literally hundreds of people make this switch over time, and give yourself time. It does take time. Sometimes a year, sometimes 5 years, sometimes 7 years from one of the interviews that we did on that podcast. So it takes time, and I would say build slow. That's kind of one of the mantras over here at Interact, is go slow, be consistent, and watch the results come in. It's just like anything, right? There's no hack to get there faster. You're not going to be at the level of these 2 examples from Ashlyn or Kay that I showed you today. You're not going to be at that level next week or next month or next year. They've been at it for, I think, at least 10 years each at this point. So that's a long time, right? And it's more about the consistency and the creation to get there. But you can get there. I've seen a lot of people do it in the last 10 years. I've seen hundreds, thousands of people make this transition, and it is possible. And there is a lot of freedom on the other side. So I would encourage you to get started with that content creation, follow these steps, and see if you can get to a place where there's more freedom in your life.